Hey, I'm just saying. You would look good in a car like this. I'm just saying. The McLaren saga is finally over. They have made their decision after 2 seasons. Daniel Ricciardo out, and McLaren F1 will be replaced by Oscar Piastri, who sent that shocking bombshell when he announced that he would not be driving for Alpine in replacement of Fernando Alonso after Alpine said that he would drive for the team. Will take over Ricciardo's seat for McLaren. But the interesting twist about this one is that he will take it in 2023, not 2024, when we probably would expect a driver change at McLaren. Now, again, this whole situation has just been an absolute mess. Since the 2022 season first started, it has been in a complete mess on what's going to happen with Daniel Ricciardo. Is he going to stay or is he going to leave? And to be quite honest, this move by McLaren is both good move and a bad move. Let's explain what the good move is at first. The fact is that, see what you want about Ricciardo. I love Ricciardo. I want him to succeed in F1, but he simply just didn't have pace. Now, I know when I say that, a lot of people are going to jump to, but he won Monza. He won Monza last year. And while yes, that is true, that was a very impressive win by Ricciardo, and to be able to get a 1-2 finish from McLaren, that was extremely impressive. I'm not going to deny that. What he did was awesome. Became the first McLaren driver to win since, I think, Jensen Button, Brazil 2012, I believe that was the last time. It's been a while. So, yeah, 100% would applaud him for that. But we have to take a look at the season, not just one race. And I feel like that's the issue with a lot of fans that think that this decision was wrong, is that they're looking at one race and not the entire picture. When you take a look at Ricciardo's time in McLaren, he has always been outperformed by his teammate, and not by a little, by a good amount. In 2021, yeah, he got that win, but Norris has scored 45 more points than Ricciardo throughout the entire season. He's had a much better average finish. Norris had a 6.62 to Ricciardo's 8.1. He had a much better grid position. Norris 6.68 to Ricciardo's 9.68. And in 2022, it's gone even worse, the gap between the two. We've seen how much Ricciardo has struggled with this new car. And don't get me wrong, both McLaren are not to where they were last year, but still, Norris has been able to get something out of this ride. He was able to get a podium finish at Imola earlier in the year, while Ricciardo still doesn't have a top 5 finish yet this season. In fact, his best average finish is 11.75. And his average starting position is 11.23 heading into the summer break. Norris has still managed to keep his car in the top 10, 7.92 average finish to an 8.23 average start finish. And when you take a look at every race, if you take a look at the race results, if you go race by race this season, Ricciardo hasn't been off by Norris by a little bit. He's been off by a good margin. Granted, there are some things that were out of out of Ricciardo's control, including some that were caused by McLaren and not Ricciardo. I understand that. But in times where it was just based off of pure speed, Norris has been much better than Ricciardo. So while I do believe that this decision is necessary, I don't blame McLaren for taking this decision and going for a guy like Oscar Piastri, who we know can win. He's been proven that he can win, at least to have a shot at Formula 1, 1 F2, 1 F3, Formula Renault. He's a proven race winner, exuberating with talent, a young driver. Makes sense for why McLaren would go for him, especially when you consider the fact that their biggest competition is Alpine. Or at least as of recent years, it's been Alpine. So, of course, if you have a driver that's been in the ins and outs of Alpine, you're going to want to snatch him up so that you can take what he learned from Alpine, bring it to McLaren, and make the team better. I totally understand McLaren for taking this decision. However, it's how they did it I am annoyed with. Was the move necessary? Yes. Do I blame McLaren for making this decision? No. However, were they extremely disrespectful to Ricciardo? Yes, absolutely. Especially this year. Just McLaren has been absolutely disrespectful, I think, to Ricciardo. Especially the fact that Ricciardo has a contract that says that, according to him, that he has the option to stay with the team till the end of 2023. The fact that, in hindsight, McLaren, especially Zach Brown, couldn't keep his contract in his pants and had to show it off and shove it in everyone's mouths for everyone to see, that tells me that they were planning on cutting him off regardless of what Ricciardo was saying. It was kind of like, yeah, you say you're going to be with us at the end of 2023, but let's be honest, we're going to cut you off. Why else would they go after Colton Herta and bring him out to a test session. Why else would they? Okay, it's a different series, but apparently Alex Palou going to F1. Rumors about Schumacher or Vettel coming in to replace Ricciardo. Of course, we talked about Oscar Piastri. The fact that all these drivers were either A, rumored, or B, had contracts from McLaren that talked about Ricciardo or replacing Ricciardo's seat in F1, and that McLaren didn't. They could have just stopped the whole hoopla, stopped the entire drama, and be like, look, Ricciardo's going to be on driver to the end of 2023. That's it. The fact that they let this play it out and they kept messing with everyone's head, especially messing with Ricciardo's head, that to me, I did not like. I did not like at all. Again, I think the move was necessary. I think they made the right decision, but it's how they did it I have an issue with. Now, some people could say that this could be Ricciardo getting a taste of his own medicine, because if you remember, at Renault, he left Renault after 2 seasons because he didn't like the process of that team and didn't think that they were good enough for him to win races and championships. Ironically, McLaren comes in and does the old switcheroo. Tells Ricciardo that basically they don't think that you can win races or championships, which I understand that little aspect of it, kind of like Ricciardo getting a taste of his own medicine, but still, I think how McLaren did it was just absolutely disrespectful. So that part I feel really bad for Ricciardo. That part I extremely feel bad for. But again, he just wasn't proving it. You can say all what you want about Monza, but it's one race. The fact that that's all you can talk about says a lot. So McLaren, I think, made the right decision to or I shouldn't say get rid, but to replace Ricciardo with Piastri. I completely understand why they went with Piastri. It just, again, how they did it could have been a lot better. And I think this exposes the management of McLaren. They don't give a damn. They will use you up and then they'll toss you up to the curb. I mean, look at how they've treated with contracts and deceits and lies and all this stuff. It's just, So now we know. So we've covered on why they're getting rid of Ricciardo and why they're replacing it with Piastri. Why I think that decision was both good and bad. But now let's talk about what's going to happen with Ricciardo himself. He's going to be out of a ride at the end of the season. Unlike what we all originally thought, and especially what he thought he's going to have the ride till the end of 2023. Well, now that time frame has been shortened by a mile. So what does he do for 2023? Well, he only has a few options. Haas is available, but more than likely Schumacher is going to take over that spot. And I feel like more than likely AlphaTauri and Alfa Romeo will keep their drivers of Zhou Guanyu and Yuki Tsunoda. There is a ride at Williams, but who wants to be in a Williams nowadays, I guess? Really, the only spot is Alpine. But again, I bring up how things went down when Ricciardo left what was then Renault in 2020. I don't know. Maybe tensions have, been put aside and they're on good terms now, but I have a feeling there's still maybe some bad blood between Renault or Alpine and Ricciardo. It could happen, but I don't know if it will happen. But when you take a look at the driver market landscape, I don't know if there's really a spot for Ricciardo, which absolutely sucks because I love Daniel Ricciardo and I want him to be in F1, but we also have to be realistic. We may want this to happen, but will it happen? I have a strong feeling we're not going to see Ricciardo in 2023 in F1. I don't know. Again, it could happen, but when you look at the spots that are available at the moment, it's very the chances are slim. I feel like, again, I think the likely options would be Alpine, maybe AlphaTauri. I mean, I'm confident that Yuki's gonna come back. I don't know, but maybe AlphaTauri. But other than that, I don't see any spots available. Again, he could go to Williams, but does he want to? Because when you go to Williams, you're going to be in the back of the grid. Like Ricciardo has said he wants to compete and win for championships. You're not going to do that in a Williams. I'm sorry, you're just not. So could he come to IndyCar? I mean, he wouldn't be the first driver. I mean, look at Romain Grosjean. Went from F1 to IndyCar, having some good success there. Kalamaya came from F2, is now in IndyCar now. He wouldn't be the first driver to do it. And I think maybe, even though he says he wants to stay in F1, he may have to open up his options for IndyCar. Or, hey, I'm just saying, you would look good in a car like this. I'm just saying.